Good damn morning, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Where do you need to be when you're done watching this video presentation, you ask yourself? JerichoGreen.net. Now make sure that you protect your retirement with a gold IRA. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Noble Gold is who I trust. Now something's not adding up, is it? Stocks are at record highs, but the government just borrowed $5 trillion. Inflation is transitory, but went up to 6.8%. How much did your wages go up? Gas, electricity? A precious metals IRA with Noble Gold will help you avoid the worst of this. And this month, Noble Gold is giving away a free 1/10 of an ounce solid gold American Eagle coin with any qualifying plan that you start. Call 877-646-5347 or visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. So yesterday, you know what it was. Today's January 7th. So that means yesterday was January 6th. Dun, dun, dun. 1 year later. Now we all remember what happened on that infamous day 1 year ago. Those savages that supported the man with the orange hair and skin rushed the barriers of the Capitol building. The hordes poured into the halls where we conduct our democracy. They trashed the Capitol building, searching for the elected officials that they so hated. They acquired said elected officials and dashed their bodies upon the marble steps below. And the streets of Washington, D.C. ran red with the blood of the oligarchs. Now, that's what these overpaid turds want you to think. They want you to think that January 6th was the worst day in American history. These aren't my opinions. I got proof. Dummy number one. Remember in was it Dr. Seuss Thing 1 and Thing 2? Well, we got dummy number 1 and dummy number 2. And dummy number 2 somehow might be worse than dummy number 1. Now, dummy number 1 survives on a diet of butterscotch pudding, hard candy, and fading memories. You know who he is? Our grandpa-in-chief. Bidenist pervertist. Hey, this isn't the mall. On the first day of Christmas. That dude. He got up there, and of course, he had to bring up Trump. They cannot get that man's dick out of their mouths. They keep talking about him. So he said how, and I'm going to tell you right now off the top, I did not watch this whole thing. I could not do it. Now, I've suffered through some bad videos for the sake of this channel, but I could not make it through 37 minutes of this bullshit. 37 minutes and 45 seconds. Of course, he did his classic stumble through words, trail off on words, leave letters out. Because you know when you're talking, letters aren't important. But he was saying how Trump basically sent this mob to the Capitol and gave them explicit directions on what they were supposed to do when they got there. This was Trump's fault. He activated these people. So they say. But if you look at the video footage, see, they tried pulling this shit, and some of them still will, with him saying it's okay to grab women by the pussy. That's a lie, because if you listen to the audio recording of everything that man said, he said women will, here's the key word, guys, let you. When you're rich, famous, powerful. No shit. Who doesn't know that? You ever heard of a groupie? So they tried this bullshit with him saying that he said this when there was audio evidence saying the contrary. So again, in this situation, Trump told these people, he told them to come here, he told them to do this, when in actuality, you can look up the footage, he said, go there and protest lawfully. Exercise your rights to protest lawfully and peacefully. Now, if that's telling people to go and do something to the contrary, that's news to me. Because from what I can tell, he said, don't go up there acting a fool. Don't be like them. Don't be like their protesters. Do it the right way. So, as we know, people are going to do what people want to do, whether you want them to or not. Anybody know any alcoholics or drug addicts? How many times you try to help them? How many times you take them to rehab? Huh? How many times you try to help them out? But they don't. If they don't want the help and if they don't want to change, they are not going to change, even in the face of horrible things. If they're not ready, it's not going to happen. Just like this. If people don't want to do what you're telling them to do, they're not going to do it, period. So these people decided to go into the Capitol. Now, they tell you that the people rushed and broke in, but I saw footage with these two, with these ocular stems. I saw footage of Capitol police officers moving the barricades and waving people through. Come on, this way. It's kind of hard to break into something when the people who have access to that place open the door and say, come on, this way. That kind of takes out the whole breaking in aspect of it when you have permission. But they tell you that these people stormed the Capitol building. And what's their favorite word? What makes their liberal little pink weenies come out like a dog when their little dog dick comes out, that lipstick, the pink lipstick? What makes the liberals' pink lipstick come out more than this word? Say it with me, guys, and make sure you got a cigarette on hand when you're done saying it. Insurrection. They love that word. Insurrection. This was an insurrection. That's what they say. These people were insurrectionists. They were attacking our democracy. These people never gave a shit about our democracy until that gun was pointed at them. Then it's attack on our democracy. Our democracy was under an attack. Our democracy. And these Capitol police officers saved the world. They said that the Capitol Police and other law enforcement officials that were there saved our democracy. That's big. People, that is huge. Because that's what all this is based on, is democracy. I'm not saying it's a democracy, but democracy plays a big part in this republic. So that's big. They said our democracy was under attack, and had those Capitol Police and other law enforcement officials not been there, our democracy was no more. America would be no more. Change forever, even if it was even still here. Okay. So in the face of all that, these people took selfies, broke some shit, didn't find, they said they were roaming looking for elected officials to do whatever to, didn't find them. And out of all this chaos and horrific action, Biden said in his speech that he talked to or saw the testimony or something of one of the Capitol Police, and he said that the Capitol Police officer said that it was like a medieval battle, end quote. And then said that Capitol Police officer said that it was worse than what he saw in Iraq. Now, I've never been in war. I wasn't in Iraq on the ground. I was out on the water on a ship. But I'm going to go out on a limb. You let me know if I'm wrong. If anybody out in the comment section did do some combat in Iraq, number one, thank you. Welcome back. But if I'm wrong with what I'm about to say, please let me know. I'm going to go out on a limb and say what happened on January 6th was nowhere fucking near what happens in Iraq, or what did happen in Iraq in any of the battles that took place there. Are you kidding me? Which brings me to what that Hua Kamala, the Ugandan nightmare, the politician who went horizontal so her career could go vertical. That dumbass, that chameleon, That fool with no conviction that changes depending on the audience she's standing in front of. And having her affinity for old men, how her and Biden aren't locked in a fiery, passionate affair is beyond me. So, this dummy, before the president spoke, she got up there and said the following. She said that there are dates in history that will live with us forever, like December 7th, 1941. Yes, people, that December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor. 2,400 lives were lost that day. September 11th, 2001, more than 3,000 American lives were lost that day. And then she said January 6th. So she's equating those horrible days in our history with January 6th. Let me run that back one time. Pearl Harbor, 2,400 dead. 9/11, over 3,000 dead. January 6th, one person dead. One. Was it a Capitol police officer? The ones they drag and beat in the head with fucking fire extinguishers, which turned out to be bullshit. It was stress. Yes, that officer, they said, was dragged and beaten in his skull with a fucking fire extinguisher. It was a lie. So the only life that was lost on that day was a lady by the name of Ashley Babbitt. She was not a Capitol police officer. She was not an employee of the Capitol building. She was not an elected official or one of their staff members. She was one of the insurrectionists. She was one of the bad guys, if you let them tell the story. That woman was a veteran, and the cop who shot her in the head got off. Yes, he shot that woman in her face and killed her. Got off. Said it was a clean shoot. Said that his life was threatened by this woman. Okay, so this was on par with 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. This was just as bad as that. One life lost. Now I know any loss of life is bad, especially you ask those people's family and friends. I know that. But as humans, this is how we put things in order, by loss of life. The higher loss of life, the worse the event. That's how it is. I'm not diminishing or anybody's death or whatever. They're all bad. But on one day, we lost 2,400. The other day, we lost 3,000. That's over 5,000 American lives to one. None of them should have been lost. But that lady, Ashley Babbitt, should not have been shot and killed that day in the Capitol building. So you're going to say those days were as bad as this. This was nothing. This was a bunch of frustrated people doing some dumb shit. And there may have been people in there who were sent there by liberals, by some of these crazy ass politicians. We don't know that. The dude with the moose head or whatever, he's been seen in other places doing other things. So we don't even know. But if this was a coup, if this was supposed to be the destruction of our democracy, don't you think there would have been, number one, more loss of life, and number two, a loss of life on the other side? Not the people coming into the building, but these staffers, these elected officials, these police officers. They told you they got one and beat him to death. So you think they couldn't have gotten more? You think this wouldn't have been more planned out if this was actually what they say it was? It's a bunch of bullshit. The only person that got killed, who died, was one of the people who came in the damn building. Not even the ones they were going after. What? Because you got a picture of some dude carrying fucking zip ties? What was he gonna do? What kind of hellfire do you think would have been brought down on somebody who took an elected official or any other person in that building hostage? You think they would have made it out of there? Probably not. This was some unorganized bullshit, and nobody should be storming any buildings, damaging any property. Period. If it ain't yours, don't touch it. If it ain't during normal business hours, don't show up here. That's fine. But to tell me this is on par with 9/11 and Pearl Harbor, shut your lying, disgusting, and what I'm sure has plenty of little old pubic hairs stuck in your teeth, your filthy, lying mouth. Shut up. This wasn't no damn insurrection, and this was nowhere near Pearl Harbor and 9/11. But they use that kind of language. That's how they get people fired up. They use that inflammatory language like Pearl Harbor, 9/11, January 6th. Shut your damn mouth. Why don't you put some of this energy toward the border, border czar? Why were you not doing a Skype speech about January 6th from the border? You don't even do what your title says. So shut your ass up. January 6th was not this blemish on our history. It was a hiccup. It was a joke. Aside from the lady who was shot in her face by a Capitol police officer. Where were all the calls to defund the police and police reform then? You had a bad police shooting on your property. And you guys didn't say shit about no police reform. Because you're full of shit. January 6th. That's just another day on the calendar. Stop that bullshit. I mean, of course I could believe it. Look who it comes from. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. But January 6th, that wasn't shit. And it wasn't Trump's fault. He didn't activate these people. Man, garbage. Absolute garbage. I'll tell you what isn't garbage, though. It's a new year and not much has changed. Houses are selling in a week. Interest rates are at 0. Our government is still printing money, $5 trillion in new money to be exact. What could possibly go wrong? Meanwhile, consumer confidence hit a 10-year low and inflation hit 6.8%, with parts of the U.S. seeing rates as high as 8%. Something's not adding up, is it? So what can you do? You can play safe. Putting some of your assets into precious metals will keep your money away from the volatility of the markets and inflation and let you sleep at night. This month, Noble Gold is giving away a free 1/10 of an ounce solid gold American Eagle coin with any qualifying plan that you start. So talk to an expert at Noble Gold and they'll run you through the options of keeping your money safe. No pressure, no hassle, no call centers. Just a chance to speak to someone who knows what they're talking about for once. How refreshing would that be? Call us at 877-646-5347 or visit the website noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Now let me get in here with my beautiful wife and kids. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize the Linktree link. Get your ass over to JerichoGreen.net. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.